Welcome, boys and girls, to another episode of K-Fave Comparisons. My name is Mr. Knowitall, Daniel John Schafer, and I am joined here once again by the Spectacular Vernacular, Mr. Jesse Baker. Jesse, how you living today, bud?
Man, just living, hanging out, chilling in the country. I've been watching a lot of wrestling. I've been recapping a whole bunch of Survivor Series Turkey Day, just style stuff, and it's amazing. I'm super stoked about doing a classic K-Fave Comparisons format episode today. I love these things. Very much missing Mr. Wex breaking the Lawson. However, that intros us into, we have a very fantastic special guest once again.
Yeah, she's becoming a regular in our sitcom here. She's becoming the regular occurrence. Miss Jessica Rosenberg, how are you?
Tired, but I'm here.
Tired. Yep. Worn out.
I'm
Worn
curious,
out for sure.
Why are you tired?
Working 46 hours this week and only one day off.
Yikes.
Because somebody quit without notice on Black Friday.
That's the worst. That is the worst. Man, yeah, inflation, guys. Am I right? All right, well, let's talk about today's topic. We're doing a classic comparison, an OG kayfabe comparison, if you will, throwing it back to the season 1 style, back when me and the KG Cast were starting this thing off 5 seasons ago. And today we are doing Survivor Series 2002 versus Survivor Series 2022 Wargames. Get the full name in there. I feel like we just got to keep adding words as time goes on, you know. Soon it'll be like brought to you by Powerade, but that'll actually be in the title, you know. We'll see. So overall thoughts. Let's just talk about the current stuff right now. Overall thoughts. How did you feel going into this most recent Survivor Series, Ms. Jessica?
So it was weird having the War Games addition to it, which basically took that away from NXT. And it's weird. It's that there was no actual elimination match, which is funny because the other one that we were talking to, 2002, didn't have any elimination matches either.
Yeah.
So it was just weird to like it's been so long, and the War Games felt like war. It was a very long time.
Yeah.
Very long. Very long.
Save it for the coverage.
Yeah, we'll save that for the coverage. Okay, well, Jesse, how hype were you going into it? Was there anything specifically that you wanted to see on the show?
I was extremely hype only because it was one of those moments where, and I feel like this is where wrestling succeeds. You're right around a holiday, and no matter whether you have a positive or negative holiday, everybody wants their escape. You know, and it's one of those things where I was very stoked to have something to dive so hard into, and that was great until I watched it. And also, 2002 did have an elimination match, just not a traditional Survivor Series elimination match, but they had 2 elimination matches actually.
Yeah,
and
they were just weird.
One of them was really good, and one of them was.
Yeah.
That's the noise. It's like a dog whining when they don't know what they want.
Yeah, well, you know, for me, as far as the current show, I was most hyped. I mean, to me, the best thing going in the WWE period is the Bloodline, like Sami Zayn thing. I think it's written really well. So obviously I was hyped about that. I was also hyped about Balor and Styles too. But we'll get to that for sure. Everything else on the card was just kind of there for me. I'm kind of in and out on the current product, honestly. So
the episode is over. We already did our reviews. We're good.
Yeah.
There's more. There's good things to say.
That's it. We got plenty left to say here. So, but let's get right into actually the 2002 show. So we're gonna jump right into the kayfabe comparison here. Let's get right into it. So it's 2002. You know, Limp Bizkit's on the radio. It's you know, we're all like logging into AIM, you know, on our dial-up still. Like maybe some people had DSL. I think cable was starting to be a thing, cable internet. I'm not sure. But you had like the actual cable from like, you know, the back of those TVs, like the coaxial cable that went into your a little modem thing or whatever. It was wild, man. Wild time, 2002. Spiky hair everywhere. So much hair gel. So many shiny pants too. Just it was wild.
Big pants.
Yeah, shiny baggy pants. So let's get right into it, though. The first match here is Spike and Bubba Dudley and Jeff Hardy versus 3 Minute Warning and Rico. Jesse, give me your rundown of what you felt about this tables elimination match.
I got to say, first of all, that, it's in Madison Square Garden and it's in November, which is perfect for WWF at the time. And it's you got to keep in mind, a lot of recent changes had happened, mostly including Saliva being the theme song. Yet again, that band just got so much shine from the old E and whatnot.
It is crazy.
But the hard cam tables, like the commentary tables, were weird because of the hard cam. Like the way the layout was, everything was very strange, and that's the first thing I noticed because I'm a fucking dork. But I expected in rewatching this match for it to be really bad, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, there were so many spots that were absolutely incredible. Everyone worked. The crowd was super into it, which, for an opening match, they're going to be into it. But, like, my God, I really thought this was nothing less than an absolute illustration of a fantastic opening match. You look at certain things. One of the things I noticed most about this match was, like, looking at Rosie and realizing in certain instances how much he looks like Roman. There were a couple of weird turns where you're like, fuck. Like obviously you can tell now, but it was absolutely insane. The 3D through the table for the win. This was an elimination match, by the way.
Yeah.
Just not a traditional elimination match.
Right.
Just left out the word traditional, but yes. You, me, same wavelength. Missed a word per usual.
Happens that way sometimes.
Yeah.
But Jeff off the vomitorium onto Rosie was a super big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this one 4.5 beers, man. Like, I thought it was a great opener. I thought it set the pace. I thought it was very exemplary of 2002 in the sense that you don't expect them to deliver. And it fucking did, man. And like Rico, I don't understand why that dude wasn't pushed better. He had a great physique. He obviously was a decent worker. He understood communicating with the crowd. It was just a shit gimmick.
Yeah, it was a terrible gimmick for sure. I mean, I think the gimmick itself just had a ceiling, especially in 2002. Honestly, I feel like that character would do significantly better now. Yeah. And he'd be booked as a babyface, like, easily. But
Fandango before Fandango,
Yeah. Honestly, it's more, kind of like a Goldust Fandango blend. But Jessica, what did you think about that opening match?
Anytime like tables and ladders are involved, I'm into it. I love people getting smacked into stuff. I love people breaking stuff. Does the body good. It makes good sounds. It's just kind of like what I think of when I think of wrestling. Like, I loved how you had the Dudleys together in the same ring working with Jeff Hardy. Like, dude, like, they just fucking take so many hits, and it's like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also Devon, like the reuniting, like Devon running out the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and like the boys are my boys. Like, I wouldn't have dressed up as them if I didn't love them so much.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like that was definitely a pop. And so it was like, it just feels more like wrestling. Like, getting into like the like when we talk about the women's match and like the way that went, like, this was just much more entertaining with the way that the like tables and weapons and things like that were placed around, and like it just flew a lot better. It was like really entertaining to watch, thinking back as a kid, or not really a kid, but like a teenager at that point, and then watching it as like, almost 40-year-old adult. Like, it's still that same excitement. So I said 4 beers.
That's not far off. Yeah,
that's not far. I mean, we're all kind of right there. Like, I went 3.5. I really liked it, but I did feel like the amalgamation of how we got there, like it was definitely like, hey, we need a strong opener to kick off a major show. Let's put these guys that are really great with not a whole lot of story going on right now and put them into this match. That being said, like obviously, like you all said here, like I mean, the work rate was better than it had any business being. Like when on paper you're like, this is not gonna be like this is gonna be a filler match. Like I'm gonna see some cool spots, but that was it. But the cool spots were so good that it exceeded the less than valuable storyline. You know what I mean? I do think that Rico looked really good here. I like. Maybe because the gimmick was such trash that I never really truly paid attention to him in the ring or like his actual promo work to actually grade him fairly. But I never really had the sense like that he should have been pushed. Maybe he should have, and I just overlooked it because he definitely showed it in this match. I thought it was very, very good.
He did a lot of really good shit in OVW. That you know, and like when OVW existed in that way, no one knew. You know,
right?
Like,
yeah.
So it is what it is. But like he definitely had better potential, and the gimmick killed him. The gimmick killed him. Like there was nothing else. The best thing he ever did was managing Billy and Chuck.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, I think he was kind of key to that presentation as well. Yeah. Let's jump over here to the current day show, and the opening match here is going to be the women's Wargames match. So we're going to work backwards here, and I'm just going to dive right in. This was ugly. Like, this match was ugly. This was a BFW Hall level work rate. Like, it just wasn't. And like, honestly, too, it's like all of these women, all of them have been in fantastic matches. Like, they can all wrestle. Like, I'm not disparaging their wrestling ability, but like, this was not put together well at all. Like, whoever the agent of this match was should be fired. It was not good at all. Like the flow of it made no sense. The only decent spot that I actually really enjoyed was the Bailey and Lynch square off, and then the massive Tower of Pain in the corner. That was a cool spot. But I feel like the weapons really cluttered it. Like the actual visual of it just felt messy, and it felt like they didn't have room to move around. And with 2 rings, that's ludicrous. Like there's way too much stuff in there. I mean, like Io Sky, I think is pound for pound one of the best professional wrestlers, period. Like I think she's incredibly good, and she had a terrible showing. Like it was just too many slips and mishaps. Maybe there was too much baby oil on the ropes. Who knows? We'll use the Brock Lesnar excuse there. But yeah, I mean, it got a beer and a half for me. It really underwhelmed. I expected it to be way better. Did not enjoy it at all. Jessica, what'd you think?
Like when I was telling Jesse when we were, texting while we were watching it, like I had so much hope, and then it just kept going. Yeah. It was 40 minutes, like just shy of 40 minutes. And to me, it was like watching the best dancers get together and do a group number for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, like not everybody is on the same level. Not everybody has the moves down. And it was a mess. There were some really good spots. The time that it took, like each person grabbing a weapon, throwing it in, like why? Like
it was unnecessary.
Cluttery, like it was messy. I think my favorite part of it though was the part where the announcer goes, I don't think Nikki Cross understands the importance of this match, or like the way the match is supposed to go. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was cracking up so hard because she's just like in her own little world, and whether or not that was like necessary really caught me up, because I was paying attention to her more like fuck off than anything. And then everybody's like getting squashed and bent over and turned around. Rhea was the best part of it for me. Yeah. 3 beers, but I didn't enjoy the third one.
Okay. So the third one was warm because it took so long to get to it.
Yeah, it took so long to drink it because I'm like having to watch it. Yeah.
That's fair. Jesse, where are you at on this women's War Games match?
Man, so the producers were Tyson Kidd and Petey Williams. And that makes me so much more mad because there's no business for it to be what it was.
No.
Everybody took too much time grabbing weapons. It was fucking terrible. That whole thing alone killed the match. And, there was a comment earlier about, hey, it's cold, there's no story. And to be honest, it's cold and there's no story.
Yeah.
Like, none of these people had issues with each other that were a consistent, awesome build.
Yeah.
Like, the Becky thing added a little bit of fire to it, and outside of that, there wouldn't have been any. The Nikki Cross thing, and the reason that bothered me was the man advantage in War Games, and then you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
You're sitting on the turnbuckle while your team has the last advantage that it has, while you're 5-on-4, and you waste a fucking entire minute.
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose? It makes absolutely no sense. My first 2 notes that I took on this match where I'm definitely not mad that I'm still cooking, and I can hear Jim Cornette from here.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the first 2 things. I gave it a beer and a half, and to be honest, I gave it an entire beer only from the mist and DDT spot. And then the other half was really just the fact that obviously people were working. I just don't think it was produced well. I mean, it was a mess. The whole thing was ugly and terrible. And if you want to talk about coming out with a strong opener, man, they did not do that. And to me, it was a slight on everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even with the clutter, if it had just had like a little bit more tempo and like maybe 10 whole minutes less long, it might have been great. If it had just been half an hour, it might have been great.
What should have happened is when the 10th participant came in, it should have ended right then.
Yeah, for sure. Hopping back over to the nostalgia show here, we got Stacy Keibler checking in from WWE in New York, and there's just so much denim. It's a wild time in the world.
Luckily,
Saliva plays the theme song.
Stacy Keibler, because come on, we're talking 2002. I was prime into that.
Yeah, for sure. But denim would not have been my first choice. I will say that Saliva got a little bit more shine because I don't know if we heard enough of them before we got to this point in the show, but Saliva gets a whole concert essentially on pay-per-view, which makes no sense. I don't imagine they would sell many pay-per-views if they were putting on a concert. But the next match here is Jamie Noble versus Billy Kidman for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Jesse, what do you think about this one?
I gave it 3.5. I absolutely, first of all, I hated the change to Kidman's intro and his look. And I'm not advocating for anybody wrestling in jorts or whatever, but when he came at that point in time, everybody knew him that way. Mm-hmm. We're fresh off WCW still. I don't care that it's a year and a half later. We still are fresh off. And the tights were nondescript. It just looked weird. Mm-hmm. I will say the Taz commentary was absolutely golden. Jamie Noble, I can't say enough good things about Jamie Noble. I still think that his sequences and things that during that point in time were absolutely fucking phenomenal. And hopefully he does. They've said he's coming out of retirement for a house show. It would be cool to actually be able to see a televised match from Jamie Noble one more time. I really do think so. The Oshigoroshi by Kidman was pretty cool. There were a ton of great spots in this match. I mean, they're working a WCW cruiserweight style, and we weren't used to really seeing all of that. Yeah. I thought it was great. The shooting star press, I love Kidman's shooting star press because it was so close in. It was so tightly done. And to this day, it's still kind of the weirdest one you ever see because it's right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that that's always going to hit me. But yes, 3.5. I thought this was great. I thought it was a perfect follow-up to keeping the crowd hype and everybody being really excited about what happened with the opening match that nobody was supposed to care about. Again, work rate. It's just through the roof.
Yeah, I hear you. Jessica, what do you think about it?
So this one was one that I didn't really remember, but Jamie Noble's great. So I didn't get a chance to rewatch this match. So just remembering Jamie Noble and how it would be good to see him wrestle again, like Jesse said. I mean, Billy Kidman's great. They're both memorable for their own reason, but I don't really remember the match.
Yeah.
So based on that, if it's not one that really sticks out to me, I'd probably go 2.5 beers.
Yeah, that's a solid assessment. I actually went 2 3/4, just because I felt the chemistry was great. But this was and they worked really hard, and the match was good. I think this match 1,000% suffers from where it was placed on the card. Like if it was in a different spot, I would probably have rated it higher, just because. But this was definitely the palate cleanser after such an incredible opener that like it had too much to follow. I mean, it was high. It was impactful. Like if you literally flipped these matches and just had this open the show and then had the tables match, I feel like we'd be talking about it differently completely. But yeah, I mean, it's not their fault. The work was good. I think Nydia was underrated. I actually loved the Nydia Jamie Noble package. I think
that's
gross and nasty and hillbilly, and like I think that fits in literally any, like it would work today. It would work 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. Like this trailer trash gimmick would work no matter what. It's kind of silly that no one else is doing it. Yeah, I don't know. Solid bell to bell, 2 3/4 for me. Let's jump back over here to the current day show. And the next match on the card here is Finn Balor versus AJ Styles. I thought the match was really, really good, bell to bell. I just thought it was I think we're 3 years too late for the match. You know what I mean? Like, the match was great. Like, I mean, it got a pretty good place on the card. The work rate was really good, some really good false finishes, but literally this match would have meant so much more 2 or 3 years ago than it does now. It doesn't have the same weight, just because AJ Styles wasn't really booked very well since the pandemic, honestly. And I mean, and Finn Balor is like, and he's kind of coming back up. And honestly, like I'm getting kind of used to this Finn, and I'm getting okay with it. I just hate the Judgment Day name, and I think the look of it's weird. But I feel like it could be booked, and I feel like it could be like just a little less cheese. Like just make it a little bit more serious, and it would be better to not be so cartoony. Neither here nor there. I thought the match was really good. Again, just too late. So for me, I gave it 3.5. It was above average for sure, but it wasn't. It just too little, too late. I think. Miss Jessica, what do you think about this one?
I think if like 5 to 7 years ago, Jessica probably would have given it like 4.5 beers. I completely agree with you. Like, I kind of would have loved to seen something like this, especially with like Finn Balor taking over Judgment Day and how it evolved after that. Like you said, Finn's not really where he was. Like everybody's not really where they were like pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And like,
except for Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Yes. But she wasn't, I don't even think, she didn't even make it down there during the match because it was right after hers, right? So, like, excluding her.
They went out without Rhea, and the club went out without Mia.
Yeah. So, like, I think, to be honest, both of the women are needed out there every single time to, like, bring in some freshness to it. Because otherwise it does feel like too little too late. So I think now I'd probably say, the work was good. 3.5 for me, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. Jesse, where are you at on it?
The main reason I didn't dig it is because, again, this to me suffers exactly what we were talking about with the last match, which is the placement. Honest to goodness, like the crowd was dead for what I felt like between the two was a really great wrestling match. And the biggest pop that you heard the entire time was the gaga of the other people on the outside being involved. Yeah. Like, if anything, there should have been an orchestrated Wargames that was a 4-on-4 instead of what happened previous to this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. I mean, AJ and Finn are never going to put on a bad match. That's just the fucking truth. They put on a really great wrestling match. If you're looking at it from the standpoint of psychology or anything else, there were really great sequences and everything. But the biggest point where the crowd was actually giving a shit because of all the gaga that happened before, the biggest point was just the other people getting involved.
Yeah,
that's what they were led to believe that they needed to care about. And if you're listening to the crowd, which is what you're supposed to do as you're booking stuff, this was just put in the worst possible fucking spot.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a great match between both of them. I don't know that people necessarily cared, but at the same time, like, it's just there were some weird things. I think the booking made sense. The placement fucking hurt it really bad. I gave it 3. I gave it right down the middle. I can't fault the dudes for the work. Like, they put the work in. If you watch that match in a vacuum, it's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, it just couldn't overcome what the rest of everything else that happened. And I will say that it's also kind of not a great sign for WWE that they're consistently having to reference the past of what happened with the Bullet Club and all this other stuff. And I know that they're working on relationships in New Japan, like all that stuff's out there at the moment, but like, it's just not, man, like if that's what you have to rely on, that's bad news, man.
No, I agree. I fully agree. But I also think that like, I don't think that WWE is in a position where they need to work with New Japan to continue to have things. I don't think it's a situation. I don't think it's that drastic. But I do fully agree with everything you said though. Like, I mean the interest level and wanting to get the New Japan side of it, even if it is just for the internet fans, even if it is for just people like us, like I think the value there is going to be more in NXT, and that's how they're going to use that. But
well, here's why I think they need New Japan. Is to bring the people back that they wanted to bring back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, not only fans, but talent.
Sure, yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
It's like, if our only detriment was options, let's undo that.
Right.
And, I mean, they were already working on a Japan deal. They were already working for, like, on a whole lot of other things. And if everybody's talking about the backstage attitude and the mental attitude being better under Paul, then why wouldn't they go there?
Yeah. I completely agree. Let's jump over here to the nostalgia show again. We got a great little promo from Angle and Benoit in the back. Then we get a creepy security cam thing of Victoria's dressing room. That's just strange.
Why is the camera there?
Yeah, it's real creepy. And then we get a Victoria and Trish package, which the promo package was actually really, really great.
Dude, 2002, fucking David Sahadi, like, you're still getting that.
It's very good.
Packages are tremendous.
Yeah, production level was top notch. And then that damn bell had to ring. It's a hardcore match, Victoria versus Trish Stratus. They tried really hard. It didn't work. It just, the chemistry between those two, like, Victoria's great, and she had some really great matches, maybe even like a year after this, like 03, 04 was kind of her prime. I'd argue that Trish was probably 05, 06. But, man, like, they both became really great. They were not great at this point. The crowd was hot for this match, but it was not good. I did give it 1 beer because the crowd popped for like a bunch of stuff, and it was real sloppy. I don't know, just weird hardcore match. It's 2002, man. It's 2002. Jessica, what did you think about this one?
It definitely could have been better. Like, anytime women are down to do a hardcore match, that's gonna be a pop for me, because it's not really something that's always been a thing, or like, televised thing. It's, more of a TNA thing than, getting the shit kicked out of you. Yeah. So, it just was kind of blah. Victoria's great. Mm-hmm. I've always gone kind of back and forth on how I feel about Trish Stratus as far as her work goes. So I would say a beer.
Okay. Fair enough.
Beer.
Jesse, where are you at on it?
Man, I like the idea of the match more than I like the match.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I did go a full 2 beers. I got to say, they were trying to do something different.
Yeah.
If you look at what they were doing at the point in time, these are 2 people that voluntarily did offer to try and push their division past what it was.
Yeah.
And it wasn't at the point that they could have done it the same way. Like, you couldn't walk in and be like, we're going to put on a clinic.
Yeah.
Like, we just came out of bra and panties matches just now.
Yeah.
So, now we're trying to do a hardcore match. They tried. There was some slop, don't get me wrong, but they also continued a storyline throughout the match.
Yeah.
They brought the mirror thing back up during the match, like, in ring, and it was organic.
Yeah.
And for me, that was well done. Like, I can't fault the talent. It obviously it's hard to watch, but this is the beginnings of what brought the women's division to the table. So for me, it's at least a full 2. I kind of regret not rating it higher, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The booking they were definitely trying to put more emphasis on the women's division 20 years ago, and here we are 20 years later, and in the same spot on the card, it's the SmackDown Women's Championship match. It's Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey. The match was garbage. It was a garbage match. It was not good at all. They have completely ruined Shotzi Blackheart. I feel like she is like, you know, those like in the newspaper, those old school like comic strips, and like the way they like the over the top like soft cartoony, like they would write like punk rock people like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like that is what they've done to her. Like she is the most like Beanie Baby punk rock girl. And she poses there's nothing compelling or like makes you feel like she can win anything because they never give her anything ever. Like it's like she was, and Rousey, like we've seen that she can have good matches with other really good opponents, but her promos are not good at all. And when she has to carry, it's terrible. She cannot be a heel, and nobody wants her to be as a baby face. So to me, it's just, this has got Ronda Rousey, I think, is done. I don't think she has any more intrinsic value. I know they're really trying to get more out of her with this heel run, but it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I got a big old dud on this one. Big old goose egg from me. I gave it nothing at all. I feel like it could have just not had this match on the card, and the show would have been better. Jesse, what'd you think?
So I was talking to Jessica not only while this match was going on, but particularly after. And my notes are exactly what I said, which was I literally was mad that I sat through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, here's what sucks. I've been a fan of Shotzi for a long time. I watched her on like Midwest Indies where she was inventing cards that made so much sense for so many stars that we know now. And like, I don't think any part of this has been Shotzi's fault.
No.
Had they kept Shotzi in NXT, she would be the biggest rating that they had.
Yeah.
And like, you could lose the tank. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
Like
the power wheel tank. Like, yeah.
But outside of that, it's like with the rest of it, man, she works well. She knows what needs to happen in the ring. And obviously she is kind of in that Darby Allin way, a suicidal person when it comes to how she presents herself and how she wrestles. All of those things can work. They just haven't let them. And Ronda Rousey is 100% responsible for every botch that happened throughout this entire match, both taking and selling moves. Mm-hmm. Ronda Rousey
wasn't much selling on her part, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's that, but every single part of it, she didn't want to sell.
No.
Like, all of those botches that happened are fucking terrible because she didn't want to fucking go through it. The problem is, Fox wants Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
And so the heat for all of it is going to go to Shotzi as far as the network. And we know how that goes. And that fucking blows because, in all honesty, Ronda Rousey has no place being where she's at. It's good that they made her a heel because her fucking face just looks like she's an asshole. They needed to have her be a heel, but clearly someone told her, work on the crowd. She was too busy talking to concentrate on anything that she did.
Right.
Like, that's because she can't. Because as a heel, you need to be the really proficient in the ring. As a heel, you actually have way more offense. You have way more offense. Baby faces have a few spots and they sell. That's what you're supposed to do, and that's what she did. Like the stuff that she did with Charlotte. You guys can say what you want about Rousey, say what you want about Charlotte, but those matches were good. Bell to bell, they were good matches.
Busy fucking yammering at everybody to pay attention to what was going on.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. But like.
It's to me, it's sad because I do still fully believe that Shotzi has all of the bones to make it in any regard. I think he'll face whatever. I think there are plenty of opportunities for that person to be a big star. But yes, this was a dud. I was mad that I sat through it, and I gave it a 0 as well.
Fully agreed. Put Shotzi Black in NXT. turn her heel, have her take over Mandy Rose's Toxic Attraction, and then have Mandy Rose turn face because of it. That's a feud built in. I feel like her leading Toxic Attraction would be great. They could keep the name. It'd be awesome.
It's also money.
Yeah, it's money. It would work really well. Have Mandy Rose be the pretty girl babyface that's fighting from underneath, whatever.
Let's also talk about the little underlying egg in the room, which is that one of the producers of this match was the Brian Kendrick.
Oh, nice.
Who was not supposed to be brought back. It was a test thing, and he got taken off of his very sole AEW appearance because of all the anti-Semitic and Holocaust denier things that he had said over that point in time.
Yeah.
So,
Jessica, what did you think about this match?
I don't get why.
I kind of thought you were going to end there.
I mean, I very well could have. Stink, stink, stunk is literally what I said when the match ended. You can't talk shit and botch moves at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know why Shayna is her mouthpiece, or partnered up with her. That doesn't make sense. Like, they both have the same faces. Like, neither of them can really talk.
Yeah.
So it's weird for me. Like, I like Shayna. I want to be by herself, go dominate something.
There's 12 heads between the two of them, is all I'm going to say.
I mean, like, I couldn't even, I was too busy talking shit about Ronda Rousey to even drink a beer. So it's 0 beers.
0 beers. Man.
We go the triple way.
The triple egg. Here we go, man. Let's hop over to the nostalgia show. I didn't give it a goose egg, but it wasn't the greatest thing I'd ever seen. It's Big Show versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. It's big meaty men slapping meat. It's short. Which is nice. But the crowd went crazy when Heyman betrayed Lesnar. This match actually reminded me of like kind of the way they booked the first Goldberg match when he came back and beat Lesnar, like the only good thing that they ever did with him ever. It's like the match was short, and so like it was pretty decent. And now we know what happened, and so it takes a little away from the shock, obviously. But Heyman betraying Lesnar at this point was a massive deal. Like, I remember that being a big whoa moment. And I honestly feel like this is probably Big Show's most high-profile angle of his entire career, in my opinion, including like the celebrity stuff with Floyd. Like, this is the biggest, like, okay, we'll give you the ball this time. And I think he did it pretty well, actually. I thought it was booked really well when the match isn't going to be athletically great. So for me, I went straight down the middle. It wasn't great. But it wasn't bad. It was just 3 beers right down the middle, split the 6-pack in half. That's how I felt about Big Show versus Brock. Jessica, what do you think?
I love Big Show. I had a big crush on him when I was younger. So I really remember this match. I've never liked Brock Lesnar ever, but I love Paul Heyman. You put Paul Heyman with anybody, it's magic.
Yeah.
Anything that he's present for automatically makes it better. So I too would say 3 beers. Like, yeah, that's all I could say.
Nice. Jesse, where you at on Brock versus Show here?
I gotta say that this apparently Brock's rib injury was legit.
Yeah.
And that he, like, actually during that entire match very easily could have been put in a position that it was gonna not end well for him. They could have punctured a lung. It could have done a lot of things. Brock still worked it.
Yeah.
Very impressive. The fact that he lifted Show for an F5 while having a collapsed rib, like,
yeah,
come on, man.
Yeah. No, he's a beast. I mean, that's no pun intended. That dude is definitely, like, no one's doubting his actual power.
But at this point in time, it's still kind of untested. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
At that point in time, it was so I'm trying to look at it in a vacuum, but even later, like even 20 years later, it's like hard not to give him all of the flowers.
Yeah.
For the fact that he actually went through with that, did that. The Heyman thing, come on, man. Like, no one, This is the definition of the angle where everybody's like, no one could have guessed. It's not about the winner. It's about no one could have guessed that Heyman would have backed somebody like fucking Big Show.
Yep.
Like it's just it made no sense, and that's why it made the best sense.
Yeah.
And I did also. This is another triple. We all gave it 3. We all went right down the middle. Work rate obviously wasn't amazing, but I got to give Brock his credit, man. Like this was a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was booked really well. Like, I mean, I think they only went like 6 minutes, but it was perfect. Like that was the perfect amount of time for those dudes. They kept it moving. Like it wasn't slow. It didn't feel slow. It was good. It was very good.
The only thing I didn't like about it was when they turned tail from the building and tried to do yet again WWE trying to capitalize on fucking the Montreal thing where everybody's like, we're leaving the building.
Yeah. It's a little much. A little much. But let's jump back over here to the current day show. We did get an ad for NXT Deadline, which actually looks pretty good. I mean, now that I think HBK has got a little bit more free reign over what he wants to do, they're coming up with new ideas for matches. I feel like that's going to be the really interesting part of the HBK NXT era. Because, I mean, let's face it, like this isn't me just being, one-sided here. Like NXT talent-wise is not nearly as good as it was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. So like with the talent they have, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a good, decent crop of wrestlers that will wrestle on the show for a long time, but I don't think we're finding any new John Cena's with this batch, any new Roman Reigns is even, I don't think, or Rollins is not, there's no one like that in this batch.
That's
so
why
to me,
for people on Tuesday that they announced that we're going to come out, they just brought veterans back to announce who is going to be a part of it.
Right. Right. And I think they should do that. I mean, I don't see a reason to not, like we said, Shotzi, but I mean, even guys like that have been off TV for a while, like Bobby Roode, like put him back down there. Like, I mean, what can it hurt? That dude's not trying to, go. I think the idea that I don't think Bobby Roode in his mind is like, you know what? I think I still got a WrestleMania main event in my future. You know what I'm saying? Like but he's still a great wrestler. He can teach those kids probably a lot better than what they're working now. I mean, we got to get rid of guys like Von Wagner. Jesus, it's Van Hammer Part 2. It's just the worst. It even sounds like it. Like he looks like him. He moves like him. It's just, it's rough. After the ad for an NXT Deadline, we did get a Sami Reigns segment in the back. These two dudes are some of the best talkers in the company, if not two of the best talkers in the business. And you know how we go back and we think about eras, and there's inevitably matches, but there's mostly like promos and like backstage segments that stick out from like times in wrestling. And like this Bloodline Sami Zayn thing is a generational thing. Like this will be remembered as an era of like the Uso Bloodline Sami Zayn thing. It's that good. Like the actual, like the sports entertainment part of this is really, really good. I mean, it's WWE doing WWE things at the best level. This is really, really good. The next match here, not the worst. Might actually be. I think actually it's one of my highest rated matches on the card. But just the angle of it's not so great. Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory versus Rollins. I'd much rather this honestly have just been Theory versus Rollins. Maybe even throw Lashley in there for a dirty finish or even like a false finish or something. But triple threat just didn't make sense with these guys. I will say that Lashley did his role well. He got taken out kind of early, and most of the match was Theory and Rollins, which was good. I mean, their belt-to-belt chemistry is there. I think that there's a really good feud there with Rollins being a babyface again, but still being cocky, Seth freaking Rollins. I love that. Austin Theory has natural heat. Everybody hates the kid, but he can work. And who better to like elevate you and make you even better than Seth Rollins? That being said, the match was a little above average to me, but not too far. I'd say 3 3/4 beers for me. I'd say that the finish was great. I loved it. It was just a clean finish. That was nice. But yeah, 3 3/4 beers. That's where I'm at with it. Ms. Jessica, what'd you think?
I think Jesse and I both agreed, like, it's like an overbooked 3-way, right? So we
all know how those go.
Give Bobby some retirement. I'm so tired of seeing him. And I'm glad he left early, but it's like, why are you there?
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost insulting to Bobby.
Yeah.
Because it's like, he's like, I'm still here. I keep getting robbed from this shot. And it's like, it's like the guy, Glory Days, and it's just like, my guy, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see you in the ring because it makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's still absolutely talented, but he feels lost, like where does he actually fall in line with the story?
Yeah.
Austin Theory, hate the kid, think he's going to do great. And I hate admitting that, but here we are. Yeah. I do respect where he's basically like, literally like, don't call me kid or whatever anymore. And I literally just did. So sorry. But like with these, like,
you're genuinely sorry.
Yeah. My bad, my guy, little dude. But, with Seth Rollins, I love him. I keep seeing him the next night and that Lacey number, like that's cute. That's what I keep thinking about because that's like all I've seen this week.
Yeah.
But so I'd say about a 3, just because it should have just been Theory and Rollins, and I can't really go much higher than that. But I feel like 3 is being gracious.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. I liked it a little bit better than that, but I understand. Jesse, where are you at?
Man, to be honest, I hated it. I hated the whole thing. I have an aversion to wrestlers that have never had their own finisher. If you've been in the game for long enough and you've had multiple different finishing moves and all you've had were other people's finishing moves, it means no one sees anything other than a look. And Bobby Lashley is the example.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, buddy, the Dominator, the Spear, the fucking Hurt Lock.
Yeah.
They're all other people's shit. And it's because you honestly aren't enough of your own level of talent to do anything different. It's one thing to see Seth Rollins use a pedigree, but that's not his only finisher. And it never was.
Yeah.
It made a statement at the time that it did. I hate Bobby Lashley as a professional wrestling performer. I think it's tired. I think it makes absolutely zero sense. I get that he looks great. If he's not Goldberg, he's not Goldberg. You didn't capitalize on it at the point in time that you should have. Leave him fucking out of everything. He's just not. It's. I know it sounds crazy to say, but Bobby Lashley to me is fucking vanilla.
Yeah.
And I don't dig it. Theory, I think, has a future, obviously. Rollins, I don't understand why they haven't figured out how to put him in a different state. And this is what sucks, too. I think that they're trying to use, like, what they probably think is Rollins dust.
Yeah.
On
I agree.
Theory.
I fully agree.
And that sucks because...
I don't think it does.
I think it sucks because the minute that there's dust... it means that he ain't in the top realm anymore.
No, that's silly. I think that we're in a situation now where like they've got this Roman thing just going too long, and it has to be a massive thing. And like I don't like it'd be great for the everyday fan to get Rollins to win maybe even just one of the titles off of Reigns, but we're so far into this bloodline thing that it has to be like. It can't even be Sammy. It has to be like, it has to be Rock, or it has to be Cena, or it has to be Austin. It has to be something massive.
It has to be.
If they only have it for a short time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I also think that Rollins is no one is doubting that Rollins is a main event guy. Like he has the U.S. title because there's just no room at the top right now. That will change
have
soon.
The U.S. title.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But he's in the U.S. title picture is what I'm saying. Like he's in the U.S. title picture because of Roman Reigns and this dominant run that he's on. It's not because they're like not booking him well. And it's not because they're not giving. I mean, the whole run with Cody, he lost 3 times in a row, and it was amazing. I mean, amazing matches, like legendary matches in my opinion. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with what you're saying, but I have a more positive outlook on it.
I just think I think they put him out to pasture.
You think they put Rollins out to pasture?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that either that or, I mean, again, I'm a fan of let it play out, but
yeah.
it seems to me as though they put him out to pasture. I gave this match a beer and a half.
Ugh.
I was way lower than both of you.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. It's crazy, Jesse.
I mean, again, watching it in a vacuum, maybe not, but especially watching it where it was placed, didn't dig.
Yeah. Let's jump over here to the Nostalgia Show. We got our semi-main here, and this is my match of the night, I believe.
My match of both nights.
Yeah, it's Los Guerreros versus Benoit and Angle versus Ray and Edge for the WWE Tag Team titles. By far the best wrestling match on this card. I did really like the format, too, of having just two guys in at a time. It definitely helped the work rate. I thought Kurt and Ray both really stood out, and this is like peak for both of them. I mean, Ray's, not quite the same as he was. Not that he's lost a ton of steps, but he's not the same as he was here, and he was really good here. And you can't argue with how good Benoit was bell to bell, and his performance was fantastic. Eddie, Benoit, and Edge had like some awesome modern day exchanges. Like they had like a good solid 2 or 3 minute run that could have been on Dynamite, and it would have all fit in. And this was 20 years ago. It was really good, man. The match was great. The booking between Angle and Benoit was also really good. The way they continued the story in the match, really well put together. Guerrero's win by cheating, of course. It's just good booking, good wrestling. It's the way it's supposed to be. I gave it 4 3/4 beers. So almost 5. Really, really enjoyed this one. Best wrestling match for probably both. Best wrestling match. I didn't say my highest rated, but best wrestling match. Yeah, Jesse, what do you think about this tag team championship elimination match?
I went with your first rating, which is 4.5. This is my highest rated match out of both cards. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I mean, the pacing, obviously not a fan of multi-man matches, but like having the respect to be able to pace it the way that they did, my God, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. They continue to tell a story. You have 5 out of 6 members that are world champions formerly. And the only reason that Chavo Guerrero wasn't, and I know he's ECW champ, but you know what I'm saying. But it was absolutely great. Everything was. Every sequence was fucking fantastic. The pacing at the very tail end could have improved, but overall, a fantastic match. And I couldn't say anything better about either card.
Nice. Ms. Jessica, what do you think about this one?
These guys know how to work. They know what they're doing. They really work well together. Mm-hmm. It's cool, like going back and remembering the history that Edge and Rey Mysterio have after like watching the stuff that had happened, this past year. So that was, it felt a little bit more nostalgic, mm-hmm. Like it was kind of nice. So that actually kind of bumped up the enjoyment level I had going back to watch it. So I said 4 beers. Just good in rework, but like it's hard for me to get like 4.5, 5. Like, I don't drink much, so it's gotta be real good.
Yeah. That's fair. It's gotta be real good. Unfortunately, this next one is the main event for our current day show. It's the men's Wargames match. Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Butch, Ridge Holland, and Sheamus versus the Bloodline, including Sami Zayn / Sammy Uso. It was just really, it was clunky. It was just really clunky. And to me, at this level, this type of match, the War Games matches are awesome and legendary, but to me, there has been one WWE War Games match that has been really good without blood. One. And that was the Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee and his crew in NXT. That match was phenomenal. There was no blood, but it was a really good match. There weren't weapons in the ring. It was just a big cage match with everybody involved. Everybody worked really well. Everybody had their own little moments. They knew they had it sequenced out perfectly to where they knew where to be at all moments. And it felt like in this match, it wasn't really – this match to me honestly felt like a lot of it was on the production team. Like it felt like the cameras were just on guys that were just hitting each other in the corner when there was other spots happening that you could kind of see in the background and just wasn't being shot. Like I think this match might have been pretty decent if I was there. But like cameras were off the entire match. I mean, the whole thing. Like there were a couple big spots, like the Roman Reigns Owens, showdown thing, and the way the whole thing ended with Sami Zayn and the way it was booked really well. The story that you're trying to continue was great. The end of the match was phenomenal. The post match was great. All of that stuff was really good. The wrestling match itself was just not good, and it's because like when you have that setup, there has to be a certain level of violence. And there was never a sense of danger or violence, in my opinion. It was just kind of like we're mad and we're having a regular fight inside this cage, a regular wrestling match inside this cage. And it just didn't it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel planned out well. It didn't feel laid out well. This was on the production team. This is on whoever was agenting the match. Again, like no one in this match is bad at wrestling except for Ridge Holland. And like there's no reason that should have happened. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason for this level of talent to have the company itself drop the ball in production and on both sides, like as the agents and as the visual. It really underwhelmed me. I went 3.5 beers for the booking. But if I was just judging even the work rate might have been great, but I couldn't see it. So 3.5 is all I could give it. I don't know. Jesse, where are you at on it?
Man, so we have the same rating, but for different reasons. I don't know that I hate the work rate. I hate the booking. And the reason is the only story going into this at all, the only story going into this was internally on one side of the team. Wargames is supposed to be a payoff of a bunch of people not liking a bunch of people. That's not what we had here.
Right.
This Brawling Brute shit, let's be honest. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And then Drew and came – well, but, I mean, I'm saying, like, against this.
No.
The biggest story, honestly, was internally on the Bloodline. It was Sammy and Jay. That was the biggest thing. And that says a lot for Sammy. But what it doesn't say a lot for is the main event War Games payoff match. But like nobody else cares. Like I love Sheamus. He's a great worker. I love Pete Dunne. I'm sorry, but fuck the Butch thing. I don't care if the name suits him according to certain people, like my fiance who thinks that the name suits him. But
I think so too. Wait.
Yeah.
You used a different word there.
Oh yeah. News.
We're breaking news here.
That. But yeah, no, I think Butch is adorable. I think it fits him. I think it suits him. I agree with your partner.
Well, I mean the internal rumors about that is that it will eventually become like Butch in parentheses, kind of like Macho Man Randy Savage. It'll be like Butch in parentheses, like Butch Pete Dunne, which
like Pete Butch Dunne.
Work. Yeah.
Sure,
like
that makes
one
sense.
Of those.
Like that's fine, but right now sucks. The pairing of Drew sucks. The only thing from the opposing team that made any sense at all was Kevin Owens. And I feel like Kevin Owens is doing one of those things where he was injured and he worked through it in order to be able to be at the positive point in the company because he was clearly injured. And we're going to wind up with another situation where his career doesn't last as long as it should have.
Yeah.
That sucks. I did still give it a 3.5 because I think everybody put everyone put their all into the scenario. Everyone wanted to be a part of that, clearly. But that was my highest rated match on this particular card.
Right.
It's 3.5.
Yeah.
So it was just above average is my highest rating on this card.
Yeah. It was less than a stellar show. I feel like we're in another situation now that we're done with that show that it's like we're using these staple shows like a Survivor Series or a SummerSlam to just kind of further other angles as opposed to being big payoffs, even though you're using the scenarios like they're going to be big payoffs and it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, I feel like the weekly product of WWE is significantly better with Triple H running the helm, but you you can't undo that much that fast. And so it's like, I'm anxious to see what, this road to WrestleMania is going to look like. I'm really anxious to see what the Royal Rumble looks like. But hopefully this was like the period on wrapping up the Vince storylines, and kind of just maybe we'll get something better.
Well, I think that's I think that's why they skipped December.
Yeah.
This premium live event isn't until Royal Rumble.
Right.
And
which is great.
Why. I think it's kind of to do a retool and figure out exactly where they want everything to sit.
Yes.
And I agree that that's probably very fucking smart, but also like you got to think about what they're going to do. And as much as any of us want to fantasy book, to me, probably the biggest thing is where's Cody?
Yeah.
Where does that fit in? I think that's probably like that is the primary change to what happens with the WrestleMania main event moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think I think Cody's ready. I think it's more like what are we going to do with Cena? What are we going to do with Austin? Is Rock available? Is he not? Once they have all those questions answered, then we'll know where they're going to put Cody. You know what I'm saying?
I think this year is Austin and Sammy, and next year is Sammy and Roman.
Yeah, maybe that might be. I would love to see that. But the question now is Rock going to wrestle at Mania? And if it is, it's going to be against Roman. If he's not, then I think it's Cody. If Rock does wrestle, I think we have a Cody Rollins again. I think that's I think that's the only other thing that you can do with him and keep him at a higher echelon. But let's jump back over.
I don't think Rock's Mania. I don't think Rock's Mania. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't think Rock's a Mania.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's maybe even less than a coin toss, 50-50, but we'll see. Let's jump over here to one of the more nostalgic matches for me personally.
Did you want to hear how many beers I gave the match?
Did we not get to you? Miss Jessica, I'm so sorry. What did you think about the main event here?
So, main event, 3 moments for me that I will chug a beer over.
Okay.
The first one being, I was laughing so hard at Roman sitting in the cage because he looked like he was sitting on a jailhouse toilet trying to take a shit the whole time. So that was funny for me. A whole beer because Ridge Holland makes me very thirsty. Oh. He could hurt me.
All right.
I know he likes to hurt people. He could hurt me. Yeah. And then chug a whole ass beer for the hug that Sammy got at the end because it was very sweet and I loved it.
It's cozy.
It was beautiful. Other than that, it was garbage.
It does bring me back to one other thing I do want to say about it. OG Wargames. The actual fucking concept, which Kevin Owens was the only person who actually paid fucking tribute to. Let's just say that. But OG Wargames, the 2 cages with the top to where nobody got to sit like Nikki Cross did for a fucking full minute. Like, the idea not only is the payoff, but it's that everybody's in there and they fucking hate each other. And there weren't cages on stage. There weren't people in character sitting in cages on stage. They were outside of that cage. They got to interact with the crowd and referees and other people. And that to me is the worst, biggest, most absolute largest detriment to what they've done with War Games and WWE.
Yeah.
You need to be able to have either keep them in the back or put them on the side of the cage. One of the two.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. That makes sense. All right. Now let's jump over to the O2 show. Sorry about that, Ms. Jessica. Let's keep it going here. It is a massively nostalgic match for me.
You can't be going straight to the Elimination Chamber and skip the Chris Nowinski.
Oh, yeah. We did get the Chris Nowinski promo where he says New York is stupid. Then V1 comes out and says they're losers. Now they're sloozers. Was it stoozers?
Whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Lupid is what
Lupid. That's what it is. That's what
losers
it was. Lupid.
It was Lupid.
Then we got Ham Cubes come out there and clears the ring like a geriatric bodybuilder that he was at the time.
But it was the same too.
Dude, with the agility of a boulder, that dude looked so bad. Like, it was just awful. Ugh, God.
But it was his
Scott Steiner.
let's be honest, it was a huge pop.
Oh, it was a massive pop, but it was terrible.
It was a huge babyface pop. They didn't give a shit. They were just like, we know who this person is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was
and Matt Hardy version 1. And they're like, okay, let's put 2 people out there to do this. And then now here's somebody who we actually know their name.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Let's get into the match, though. It is the very first ever Elimination Chamber. I remember being hyped for it. The OG chamber with the gridded steel on the outside and not just the padding that they have now, which is way lamer. And it was a shorter Elimination Chamber than we have now. It's taller now because they can actually just stand on the pods. They're not like crouched down. But yeah, man, I mean, it started off strong. It's like Hunter and RVD. They had some really awesome exchanges. It's especially crazy when you realize now that like Triple H had crushed his larynx, and worked that way with a closed off throat the rest of the match. God, dude, that dude does not get enough flowers. Like as a pro wrestler, Triple H is just Jesus Christ. Like that dude has been in some amazing moments, and this was it. The middle was wonky for sure. The match was not. It didn't. Kane. Most of Kane's stuff was not good. Booker T did not look great in this match either. They didn't book him well. Jericho looked a little petulant at this point. It was like they dropped the ball so bad from like WrestleMania 18 to this point with him. Like this is a big down drop for him. It wasn't very good. I will say, when we finally got to the Triple H HBK ending, it was really good. Definitely made up for the middle ground to me. I mean, if the middle ground had been good, I would have rated this a lot higher. But the open was great. The close was great. They both involved Triple H, arguably at his very best in the ring in 2002. I still gave the match 4 beers, not for like work rate, but for like just pure nostalgia. It's the last time Shawn Michaels ever wins a world title, and that's crazy to think that he wrestled for like almost 10 more years. And he wrestled literally 8 more years and never won another world title after that. Like that's crazy to me. But arguably even was better in the ring that run than before in the 90s. But I digress. Either way, great match, nostalgia for me. Seeing Triple H or seeing HBK, even though it was in the poop brown, doo-doo brown, teal blue, awful tights, I still loved it. Gotta love HBK holding up the belt at the end of the night with the confetti. I enjoyed that part of it. Miss Jessica, just so I don't hop you again, what did you think about this Elimination Chamber match?
When you were going through that, talking about the doo-doo brown tights, I just keep going in my head like, no doo-doo brown tights ever. Please, no, it was rough. I agree with you. Beautiful end, really great beginning. The middle, it was almost 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
Cut the fat in the middle. Yeah. That's a long time for big dudes like Kane or, things like to last that long and to do that much. So, you got to love HBK though, even in those doo-doo brown tights. But that prevents me from giving it 4 beers just because him and those brown pants are definitely my demon under the bed when I can't sleep. I'm like, oh. So I do 3.5 beers for pure nostalgia, and it's something that still gets talked about today. So you can't deny that. And I mean, the work getting your shit your throat crushed like that, and then just keep going. I mean, that's a beer all by itself. So I give it a strong 3.5.
Strong 3.5. I like that. I'll take that. I'll accept it. Jesse, what did you think about it?
Look, if anybody else made their return coming back in doo-doo brown tights, nobody would be talking about it 20 years later. That's just the truth. It's just one of those things. It's because it was Shawn Michaels. And anyway, there's a fucking terrible entrance for Jericho. Yes. Terrible. With saliva playing music that was never music live from the world. Yeah. Still get another saliva bump, for fuck's sake. Fucking terrible. One of the worst things to sit through ever. The initial idea of the Elimination Chamber was dreamt up by a handful of people in the same hotel room in Nashville the night that they not only dreamt up but also aired the segment that they filmed, which was the Katie Vick thing.
Yeah.
So we're talking about being in the world of great ideas here.
Yeah.
We're talking about Triple H committing necrophilia, filming it, airing it in Nashville to a live crowd, and we're like, what can we do next? We are winning.
Yeah. What a show. What a show.
At some point in time, they said that it was produced by people in Nashville, but that's not true. It was actually built by people in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and that's where the chamber got shipped from. But people that didn't work on wrestling, they worked on other production things. So it was like a notoriously stiff, terrible ring. The thing that resonates with me the most is how many times people said, bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
And you just toss motherfuckers through it.
Yeah.
Like,
and then Sean like easily goes through it. Like
you broke 2 pods.
The smallest guy in the match easily goes through it.
Like, come the fuck on, man. But I have to say, what they were looking for is the same reason they did Wargames at Survivor Series this year. They were looking for a different match concept to redefine one of their pinnacle aspects of their year because the Survivor Series concept just wasn't working. So they consistently tried to change it up, and that's what they were trying to do. And I got to say, the Elimination Chamber obviously constantly evolved, constantly became something people cared about. It was a good idea and concept. They sold it. The whole situation there with the RVD, I mean, look, RVD ruined his career in this match.
Yeah.
He ruined how he was going to move forward in that company in this match alone. Like, I know they put the title on him after this 4 years later.
5 years later. Yeah.
It's he ruined it in this match. And that just is what it is. There are a ton of very fucking fantastic spots. I rated it way higher than you guys did. I gave it 5.25.
Oh, wow.
I do think that it was good for what it was supposed to do at the time. The only other weird little niche thing that I'll say, everyone in this match had long hair. If you look back at it, everyone in this match had long hair.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of nutty to look at back in, before the days where Glenn Jacobs was the mayor of Knox County and intimidating people over illegal use of a golf cart, which is news that happened to I don't know. I saw it today, but back in the day, everybody just had long hair. They were all long-haired wrestlers.
All the long-haired wrestlers, man. All the long-haired wrestlers. I think overall, though, if we have to grade this thing overall, I'm going to say that in this kayfabe comparison, 2002's Survivor Series is the winner. I think it's a better show, no doubt. Although there were some moments, like I'm not saying that it was I don't think that this most recent Survivor Series was a complete dud. There were some moments that were good, but it just didn't live up to the level of what Survivor Series is and should be. Yeah, man. What'd you think, Jesse? For you, which way did you go? 2022 or 2002?
There's absolutely zero comparison. 2002.
Yeah, for sure. And Ms. Jessica, what do you think overall? Who won this kayfabe comparison?
So I guess I agree with the both of you as well, because when you think of it, maybe it's because we've grown up loving wrestling, and maybe it's rose-colored glasses, but there was so much more action, so much more storyline, so much more. It seemed like a cohesive story, and you knew who was a goodie and who was a baddie, and there you had just clear idea of it's going to be intense. There's going to be lots of pops. There's going to be high flying moves. And when you think about 2022, it feels very safe. It feels very stale. It feels long and drawn out. And it feels like there's too many cooks.
Yeah.
I think the women's matches suffered from that mostly because it seems like the hardcore division from the early 2000s where everybody was like, okay, let's just put everybody in the ring and make it seem like it's hyper violent for no reason, with no storyline, and versus here's our main storyline. And their main storyline suffering now as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Well, that's going to wrap up the first kayfabe comparison OG style in a very, very long time. Overall, if you get a chance to watch one of these two shows, we would recommend Survivor Series 02. If you haven't watched it, it was a pretty good show overall. A couple ones you can skip. You can definitely skip that Victoria Trish match. Not much there. Other than that, the show is pretty good. I mean, even
watch the first two matches.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And make your own judgment on the first Elimination Chamber. It wasn't a terrible match, and it's always a feel-good moment to see old HBK win his last ever title. But that's going to take us into what we're going to do next week, and I'm excited about this one. We're doing another top 5, getting back into the regular season 5 format. We're going to do top 5 wrestling documentaries of all time. I'm really excited about that one. It's going to be good. I had a full binder of the DVDs that WWF issued back in the day when the DVDs were a hot market. So a lot of those are going to make it onto the list. And yeah, man, I'm super excited about it. So, and the Who Am I next week is going to be, since we were talking about 02, they did win here, the short-lived Undisputed Championship. We're going to just talk about Who Am I Undisputed Championship Edition.
Are we talking so that's straight up like the first one? Like the first version?
Well, we'll say from the time they called it the Undisputed title. So from Chris Jericho all the way through the brand split when Triple H gets handed the world title and Brock's officially becomes the WWE Championship. So, yeah, I'm excited about what we got brewing. Ms. Jessica, thanks for joining us again. Do you have anything you'd like to plug? Where can people find you?
If Twitter doesn't go down to the bottom of the, internet ocean, you could always find me there at Peggy Hill Feet. You could also search the American Cream Busty Rhodes, and I should pop up. And then on Instagram, it's busty.shackleford.
Love it. I love it. I'm excited about it. Mr. Spectacular Vernacular himself, Jesse Baker, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at asking one question that we didn't cover.
What was it? What did we not cover?
We never talked about Full Gear or anything else leading into that. And I'm curious as to what you guys think, if you've seen anything about the MJF, William Regal, so on and so forth. Because I think that is way more exciting than anything that we've talked about.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that MJF is the best thing happening in professional wrestling today, period. I mean, I don't think that's debatable. I think he's the most on fire individual wrestler, including Roman Reigns, in all of wrestling right now. I will say that Full Gear
better than Roman.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, I think that he's hotter right now.
Match. It's great.
Yeah, I would love to see that match one day, though. Yeah. I think Regal's. I think that they're writing him out. I think that he's going to be his deal's going to be up, and he's going back to WWE. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. It makes more sense. He did a lot there. He's comfortable there. They're going to give him a massive payday, I'm sure. I'm glad he had this AEW run. It was memorable, but I don't know. I think the rest of Full Gear was kind of okay. I think the the best of 7 thing they're doing with the Elite and the Death Triangle was awesome. Like, that's really good. The bell to bell stuff there is awesome, but. Yeah, that's. I mean, as far as AEW Full Gear for me, it was just kind of there. I love seeing MJF. I don't care
about Full Gear. I'm really just talking about MJF.
Yeah. Full Gear was what it was. MJF's great. Love it. It's the best thing going today.
I think the coolest thing about the MJF for me right now is that, like, my Jewish friends, like, me and my Hebrews are all kind of clamoring about it even Jews that don't watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Are like talking about MJF and like they're, I think it's really cool, like, to have that kind of representation, and for him to talk like candidly, even in kayfabe, in character about those kinds of struggles. I like that he upgraded the belt with the Burberry. I think that's adorable. I still hate the scarf, but I'm digging the belt. I can't wait to see what else happens with him. He's the best, and I don't care where he goes. I will follow him.
Yeah, I love that.
I think it was the smartest booking that anybody could have made to let him go out there and talk about it, and I don't think Tony Khan was responsible for it. I think MJF was responsible for it.
Yeah.
And it
oh no.
I honest to goodness, I really do think that it really came down to MJF saying, I know I'm going to feud with Danielson. This is how.
Yeah. And
this is how it's going to matter. And it he did the Danielson hemp fucking other thing from it. You know? I don't know. Especially after Triple H posted videos of William Regal yelling War Games over and over again.
Yeah.
I couldn't have seen anything smarter. So that's where I am. And that's where you can find me.
It makes sense.
You can also find me one night only in Nashville, Tennessee, back again for the very first time in several months. At the end, and I would rather Daniel talk about it more than I do, but it's obviously at the end for the Far Between.
Yeah.
And et cetera.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. It is going to be December the 10th at the end. It is the Far Between's first headlining show. I'm really excited about it. We got some extra songs we're going to play that we've been working on. We're actually doing a video this weekend for our first single that will probably drop after the first of the year, after the holidays, after we fine-tune everything. So I'm really, really excited. We got some awesome bands on there as well. A band called Growler. Our buddy Josh is good friends with those guys. And then they brought along a band that they're buddies with that I haven't seen yet called Bon Me, and I'm really excited to see them. And then there's a band all the way from Australia. They're kind of got this industrial vibe. They're called Firebird. They're going to be there, and they're awesome. They're really cool, kind of Nine Inch Nails kind of vibey band. It's a brother-sister duo. They're just a two-piece. It's a really cool vibe. Come check it out. December 10th at the end. Doors open at 7. Show starts at 8. $10 cover. 18 and up. It's going to be incredible. I'm super excited about it. You can always find me at Daniel Daybreak pretty much everywhere on the internet. And you can always find the show at KayfabeCom on Twitter and Instagram. We are at KayfabeComPod on TikTok. And we're Kayfabe Comparisons on Facebook. So all of the socials, you can find us there. But yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. We are out. Peace.
Bye.